Hi friends, Budget Girl here. Now the question I get asked probably more than anything, and the message I get probably more than anything is, hey Sarah, I want to budget. I know I need to budget. I want to have a better financial life and a more secure future, but I just can't get the numbers onto the paper. It's usually followed by, I would be happy to send you my numbers. Can you help me get a budget started? Now, here's the thing. If you can get the numbers into an email and send them to me, then you can do your own budget. That's all there is to it. If you have your numbers, you can do a budget. So I'm just going to walk you through your very first beginner budget of getting things down on the paper and how to implement this into your life. So first, and I believe your first budget should probably be just straight up pencil and paper, or Sharpie and paper in my case. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, sit down at a table and get it done. Because a lot of this is a mental block. And my first budget, I was like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna be so broke. But that's not the way it really happens. When you do this and you take control of your financial life, you're going to be able to be a lot more successful. Actually, you're going to be able to have money. I never thought that when I allocated all of my money out for the first time that I would feel like I got a raise, but I did. So grit your teeth, sit down, suck it up, pen and paper. So I'm going to link Dave Ramsey's easy budgeting form below, which will give you an idea of which categories you need to consider for your budget. And I would do this just alongside that or on that form, but this is the way I did my first budget, and this totally works. So at the very top, you need to put your estimated income for the month. Now this is for a standard budget, in which case you know how much income is coming in. If you have irregular income, as in you may be waitress or you don't know exactly how much is coming in, that's a little bit different, but not much. Essentially, we do a zero-based budget based off of a standard number. Yours is going to be more of a tier of, you figure out how much minimum you're going to get and allocate all your spending like this, and then anything extra you get gets to go by priority. But you can still do this exact same thing. It will work out, I promise. All right, so because I'm a Christian, the very first thing I would write down is tithe. And I give 10% of my income to giving and the church. If you don't do this, that's fine. Skip to the next one. If you do, that's where it goes, top of the budget, because if you put it at the bottom, you'll never get to it. So once you know your income, you write down your expenses. So that is tithe. My rent, I write down how much I pay for that, which you should know how much you pay for rent. You have to cut a check every month. And then next, you're going to write down how much you're expecting to pay for this next month for electrical. You pay the bill every month, so you should know approximately what you're going to get billed for. If you say get between like $40 and $60 a month, I'd put in 65 this month just to see how it's going to go. I'd rather be a little bit over than a little bit under. All right, same thing with water, gas. Your internet and phone bills should probably be pretty standard. And then move on to your groceries. Any other household expenses like that, go ahead and put them up. Housing, food, your four walls are going to be your most important things. Stick them at the top of your budget so those absolutely get paid. Next, you put in what you estimate you're going to spend on groceries this month. If you don't know, if you literally just go to the store and you spend and you buy whatever you want right now, that's fine. You can get more into that later of controlling your grocery budget, but take an estimate. And if you need to, go through your bank statements for the past month and figure out how much you're actually spending at the grocery store. That'll give you a starter number. It'll probably be a big, scary number that's way bigger than you thought if you haven't tracked that before. But for now, just go with it. So if you think you're spending $200 and you count everything up and you're actually spending like $350, $400, go ahead, put $350, $400 on there. You can get that under control later. Right now, you need to be realistic about what's happening in your life. All right. Next, if you have a car payment, which I don't, put that in there, gas, any other car related expenses, and your entertainment, restaurant, anything like that. Now, once we get to the bottom here, we're in expenses that can change a little bit. But once again, I urge you to be realistic with what's going on in your life right now. If you really have no clue of what your numbers are, check your bank statements for the last month or so and then put a number in that's around that number. You can get your spending under control later. Right now, you need a realistic pen and paper account of what you're doing every month. You don't want, if you're right now, you're spending $700 a month on entertainment, then you don't want to put $50 down and expect that this is going to be a budget that works. That's all there is to it. Go ahead and put something a little higher down for now and total all of those up. So all of these are your non-negotiables. These are your essentials. If you have other payments that have to go out every single month, say your kids' ballet, you have a lawn service that comes, you have other bills that have to be paid, that all goes up here. Total that up and then see what your number is. If it is below your estimated income for the month, awesome. That's amazing. That means you can pay all your bills and you have something left over and you are in pretty good straits. Now here's the thing. Not everyone's budgets are going to have this number be less than this number. If it is, then you may have an income problem or you may have a bill problem. If all of these bills are too high, and by the way, this should include your minimum payments on your current debt. This does not have mine in there right now. That was a mistake. But have your minimum payments for all your debt in here. Have that number build up. Don't put in any excess payments you may be making, just your minimums. All this is the absolute minimum you need to get by month to month to month. If this number is bigger than this number, you're going to have to find something to cut. Say your entertainment may have to go down some, your grocery budget may have to go down some, or you may have to find a way to make extra money to bring it up there. That's all there is to it. It's either you're going to have to lower your expenses or increase your income. You can't live at a deficit. That's all there is to it. If you're living at a deficit, which a lot of us can, I'm not anymore, but at one point I was, then you're just getting more and more into debt each month. And that's no way to live. All right. So if you have something left over, and once you've negotiated it down to have leftover, then you need to go down to spending the rest of that money, because I recommend a zero-based budget, which is the way Dave Ramsey says to go, where every single penny that comes in is accounted for and goes somewhere. This is called giving every dollar a name. It's giving every dollar a job so that it works for you instead of just flying away and you don't know where it went. All right, so if you don't have an emergency fund, that's going to be your number one priority. Dave recommends in baby step 1 to get a $1,000 emergency just in case something happens. Kid gets sick, car blows a tire, that kind of thing. So you have that little tiny bit of cushion in your account for life to happen and it not to completely throw you off track and you have to whip out the credit card. Okay. After you have your $1,000 emergency fund, then baby step 2 is getting rid of all of your debt. I will teach you how to do a debt snowball in another video, or there are a billion videos on YouTube on how to do that if you are in a hurry. But you will have another list, and it will be pen and paper just like this, of all of your debts. And you pay those off smallest to largest. So as of this budget, which is fake, but you can see my real budget in several of my videos, I have $1,000 allocated to debt, which would go to the smallest debt available. And if it's $1,000, it's probably going to knock something out if you have credit cards. All right, next up, these are other things that you could attribute any excess to, say sinking funds. So if you have Christmas coming up, oh my goodness, it's a month away now, then you're going to have to figure out how to pay for that. If you have a birthday coming up in March, figure out how much you want to pay and then put some savings aside for it. So, and also upcoming expenses. Say you know you have a doctor's appointment next month or you have to get your oil changed. You can set money aside now so that you aren't going to have to whip out the credit card for it in the future. So this is a very, very basic budget. But this is all it is. This isn't hard at all. If you can get past that mental block of how do I make a budget? How do I get the numbers on paper? Put the numbers on paper is how you get them there. Now, the trick to implementing this into your life is coming through here throughout the month, because you have to do this before the month starts, and reconciling this. So once you have paid your $220 tithe, you cross this out and put $0 left. Once you've paid your rent, you come through and cross it out and say $0 left. As you, every week when you do groceries, you come out and say, I have $150 left. I have $50 left. And you cross it out. If you go over, you have to take it out of another category. So if you go over in groceries, you might not have as much to spend in entertainment. Once you have spent the money that's allocated, you don't get to spend anymore. That is the main number one rule here. You cannot spend more than your budget tells you can. You tell your budget what to do. If you need more money than this in entertainment, allocate more money than this in entertainment, but you can't go over it. You set the budget, you are the king of the budget, and then the budget is the king of you. So at the end of the month, if you haven't overspent in any of these categories, then you'll have given every single dollar a job. And at the end of this, if I followed this budget, then I'd be $1,000 less in debt and I'd be more prepared for things to come. So that is how you do your very first beginner budget. I will link the resources for Dave Ramsey's Quick Start Budget below. Good luck. I believe in you. You can do it. It's totally worth it. Thank you all for submitting your questions for my new Q&A series. This has been a video I've been looking forward to doing and probably should have done a long time ago, but I was happy to do it since probably 5 or 6 of you asked when I did my call for questions of how to do a beginner budget. So this is for you guys. If you have a financial question, please leave it below and I will try to get to it. Bye.